Okay. Am I back? Chat, am I back? Hold on. That's not right. Hold up. Oh no. It's not supposed to be Cobblemon and all that stuff. Hold up. I need to fix this. And live. Hold on, let me fix this real quick. Alright. Good. Dude, my internet is going on and off. What is going on, dude? Dude, I swear this has not happened before. Oh my god. Hello? Chat? Anyone there? Hello? Hello? What just happened? Dude, what happened? I hope I'm good. Oh my god, dude, that's crazy. Okay, looks like I'm good. Dude, what happened? Okay. Alright, back to this.
Train responded with,
"Are you going to send Maya and Mitch to railroad and blackmail me like you did all those girls to cover up all those sexual assaults? You scumbag piece of You want to come at me and make stuff up? Then you better be sure you don't live in a glass house. You insecure pussy."
This one tweet was the shot heard around the world, or around Twitter and live stream fails. And this is where things really get convoluted, so I'm going to try to piece together what I can of the story while not going too far into stuff that could get me sued. It all goes back to the night of January 19th, 2020, 2.5 years prior to Train's tweet. Fellow streamer Novaru was having a birthday party, where she would invite various other streamers to celebrate. One of these people included her friend Adriana Lee, who was also a streamer. Seeing as it was Nova's 21st birthday party and they wanted to celebrate, they all ended up drinking together. And while drinking, Adriana then ended up making out with another friend of hers, which was noticed by someone else at the party, Crazy Slick. Slick was a longtime friend of Mizkif who would frequently collaborate with others in the Austin scene. And, more importantly, he was Mizkif's roommate. Adriana was drinking heavily and went to bed in one of the rooms in the house. From this point on, exactly what happened is honestly hard to discern because of conflicting reports and a lack of one reliable narrator. But first, I'll play what Novaru said on stream about it.
He went into the room and he started, I heard this from 3 people, by the way. he started like touching her and was like, I don't know exactly what his intentions were, but I just know that he was touching her, and everyone was like, dude, stop, like she's trying to fucking relax, she's drunk, like it's weird, like don't fucking touch somebody when she's drunk, and like especially when you're just making out with her. Like I don't know what the intention there was, but everyone that was there, the 3 people, told me that they were very uncomfortable by the situation.
This story was told live in a very careless fashion 18 months after it supposedly happened, leading to a lot of conversation in the community. Shortly after, Adriana Lee herself made a response to the situation. She opens by saying that she was very intoxicated and ended up blacking out, so she herself doesn't exactly remember what happened. I was told that I was kissing my best friend, Enna, and another one of my close friends at the time, consensually. Crazy Slick was following us around, trying to kiss me, trying to kiss her, and at one point I was told that he and I ended up kissing. Then apparently I was passed out in one of the rooms at the party, and he came into the room while I was unconscious. He came into the room a couple of times after being asked to leave me alone each time. In 2 of those instances, he touched my neck and chest, saying he was just making sure I was alive, after being assured by my friends that I was okay as they were watching over me. Whether or not his intentions were out of genuine concern or not, I don't know.
That's crazy.
To be clear, he did not rape or assault me, but his actions did make me uncomfortable. Adriana also included some messages with an anonymous person where they seem to corroborate this story. She ends the TwitLonger by criticizing Novaru for airing out her story when she did not want it to be publicized. Slick himself also made a TwitLonger apologizing for what he did, but stating that he entered that room exclusively to make sure that Adriana was okay, stating he was checking her pulse because he was worried about her. And with that, the controversy had been put to bed. But now, because Mizkif had fired a shot at Train, the story was being relitigated a year and some change after it initially came out, with some added details. The claim here is that Mizkif had sent his ex-girlfriend Maya Higa and fellow streamer Mitch Jones to cover up sexual assaults. This notably changes the story from Slick merely doing something dumb that made Adriana uncomfortable to deliberately touching her without her consent. He elaborated, "The people involved know the truth, but for those of you that are drama farming and coming to split conclusions, let me be even more clear. Mizkif did not assault the women. He orchestrated the cover-ups for his friends, exactly how my tweet reads." Crazy Slick was now back in the crosshairs, and by extension, so was Mizkif and his entire streaming organization. This story exploded over the following days, with many of the updates being posted onto Livestream Fails.
What I thought is what we all thought too. Like, he didn't go all the way. He didn't even like, he was just weird. He was just being a creep.
And I was like, listen, I'm gonna be true to myself. I'll make Slick look good, like an angel, because I did in the TwitLonger.
Okay, there's other stuff that are good that are gonna come out probably next 2 days.
Crazy Slick, he was in my chat and he said, "Hi, nice toe, Pepe laugh, wanna talk on Discord? No, but I like you, haha, you are hot, lol, haha, lol, LMAO."
You don't have to do that. That's a weird thing to do.
Hey!
No.
Someone.
Slick himself initially made a tweet stating that he never assaulted Adriana and had only been checking her pulse to make sure she was okay, which is consistent with his prior story, but the post would be deleted. According to Miz, Slick sent various farewell messages to friends before disappearing, leading to a scare that he had taken his own life, although he was later found alive. In the meantime, other women made accusations towards Crazy Slick as well, which seemed to show that whether or not what Slick had done that night with Adriana was assault, he had still been somewhat creepy to several girls and was ultimately not a good person to have in social settings. Meanwhile, the same night, Train had made his tweet reigniting interest in the story, 2 calls would take place, wherein Mizkif, Trainwreck, XQC, Asmongold, another streamer named Barry, and Mitch Jones discussed the claim that Miz covered up the actions of Crazy Slick. Those calls were secretly recorded and then leaked to Destiny, who had been covering the situation. The main crux of these calls regards the TwitLonger that Adriana had made in 2021. The idea being that, like Train claimed, Mizkif had sent Maya and Mitch Jones to Adriana Lee in person to discuss the allegations. But the breaking point regards whether Miz had sent them to cover up the claims and get Adriana to downplay what supposedly happened in the TwitLonger, or simply to figure out what was going on.
My best friend in the whole world, Slick, is getting accused of, people are saying he's about to get canceled. I run in his room, Maya's crying, I'm freaking the fuck out, I'm hyperventilating. Mitch is there, we're all trying to figure out what the fuck we can do for my best friend, right? I care about Slick, I do, I love the guy. And people were telling us, mainly Barry, that, yo, Adriana Lee's about to come out with some shit, because Novaru the night before said some shit, right? Novaru was like, Slick
shit, yeah.
Right. She went out and tried to say some stupid ass shit and accusations about Slick. I am freaking out. and I'm literally crying because I'm saying to myself, I'm gonna lose my best friend. I'm gonna lose my best friend in the entire world. Maya's upset. Mitch is sitting there. We're all freaking out. So then, what I did is I tried to get answers. I tried to get, what is Adriana Lee thinking? What is going on here? What's happening to my best friend? I wanted to know.
Without playing the entire thing, here's my basic summary. On one team, you have Train, who claims that Maya's role in the situation was to bully Adriana Lee into downplaying the allegations. On the other side, you have Mizkif, who claims that he was simply trying to figure out exactly what was going on and was worried that his friend and roommate was about to have his life ruined over something Mizkif did not know the truth of. Maya did a stream responding to the claims where she said this.
I was fine with her, the twit longer, fine, right. She was gonna write a twit longer. And I asked her if she thought that Slick raped her or sexually assaulted her. And at the time, we agreed, or at the time, she said no. So I said,
Look at the chat.
Could you include that in your twit longer then? And she said, okay. Was there a power dynamic in that situation? Because I'm a bigger streamer, yes. And I feel bad about that. It wasn't my intention to introduce that to the situation. I wasn't trying to impose that on her. I wasn't trying to pressure her, you know, or like force her into saying something. But did it naturally exist? Yes.
Meanwhile, Adriana appeared on Hassan Piker's stream to claim that Maya had encouraged her to downplay what went down.
I walked downstairs, they're like, so what happened? Like, let's do something about it. And I was like, well, I was just gonna write the twit longer with Kyle, the person that was there. Like, I don't really see why you guys need to be here. And then from there, obviously I was, you know, well, you know, if we say something, we're gonna have to kick Slick out. And I was like, okay. And it's like, well, if you do say something, just know, like, people are they're gonna come after you. I was like, okay, well, like, I'm still gonna be true to myself, you know?
Yeah.
And we wrote the thing together, like she was there while we were writing it, and she proofread it, and we changed some of the vocabulary to make it less harsh on Slick.
At the same time, Mitch Jones claimed the following. And keep in mind, he was one of the people sent to Adriana's house.
Did Miz explicitly give direction to you and Maya to go to Adriana's house and to quote-unquote downplay the situation or find a way to save Slick's ass? Yes or no?
The answer to that is yes.
One particularly bad clip that surfaced online was one where Mizkif had appeared to downplay the claims made about Crazy Slick.
Of what you can deem of it, it's sexual harassment, whatever. At a low scale, it's not really a big deal. I don't think people really gave a shit and really cared.
Now, it is worth noting that this clip is from prior to the more recent reinterpretation that was made public about the event with Slick. Adriana herself had stated that she did not think it was sexual assault until the meeting with Maya and Mitch took place.
That whole time, I was just told he touched my neck and like my wrist and tried to check my pulse. And then I found out as we were writing that twit longer that he touched my chest.
Many would argue that Mizkif was not aware of the severity of what the true allegation was, due to the twit longer that Adriana had made downplaying it. But of course, that then brings us back to whether or not Mizkif had sent his friends to get Adriana to downplay the allegations in the first place, and his level of awareness on what Slick had done. As you can tell, this entire thing is very messy. And I think in the same vein as Trainwreck's having some clear bias towards hating Mizkif, it was also made clear that Miz had some other enemies waiting in the wings. Ice Poseidon had been banned from the platform years prior after a troll swatted him while he was on a plane, sending him on his own arc having to deal with being censored off of the most valuable platform he had. Simultaneously, the entire internet had become increasingly politically correct, meaning someone like Ice Poseidon was very much not in vogue at that time. Not to mention that Ice had gotten himself into trouble after a series of videos criticizing his handling of a supposed scam. Meanwhile, Mizkif's rise to popularity was symbolic of what is arguably the exact opposite of Ice.
Was I a little edgy, I would say, a little bit.
A little bit?
5 or 6 years ago? Maybe. I mean, a lot of it's photoshopped, but do I, you know, but I've learned and adapted, I've matured over the years. And sure, it also matured as my view count went up, but I did mature a lot.
He had even taken the time to criticize Paul for his actions while on his stream.
All for 300 grand, man. And I know a lot of you guys would be like, yeah, easy clap, you take the bag, right? Of course you would. A lot of you guys would take 300K and just walk away and be like, you know what? But you're not Ice, you know? You didn't build this reputation and work so hard for 4 or 5 years, ruined your mental health, you know, ruin lives around you, make insane content, do all these things, and ruin your reputation from
millions of people all for $300,000 that you could have easily made doing something else.
But in the wake of the controversy, Ice would come back to fire a shot at Miz, posting old messages of him saying
the N-word.
While many people saw this as petty, and I'd agree, Ice did later attempt to justify his actions on stream.
Well, we were friends, and then he got big, and then he basically didn't talk to me anymore. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I understand. And then he just started to give me backhanded fucking comments on his stream, and then he would just like play it off as a joke, and then he would just keep doing it when I was fucking down, bro. Like, I was low, like I was in some of the lowest parts of my life, but I still didn't leak anything ever, because I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame to leak shit. But then after the whole drama with the sexual assault thing and the fake wokeness and all this bullshit that everyone was peddling, I was like, all right, well, you know what, at this point, all these everyone. So that was my 2 cents that I just decided to add in.
Ultimately, none of us were present for the meeting with Adriana, Maya, and Mitch, so we can't know exactly how that conversation went down. What we do know is that the consequences for Mizkif and the Austin streaming scene were catastrophic. Firstly, you have the negative publicity. Destiny, Hassan, hundreds of YouTube channels, tweets, Reddit posts, news articles, every format that can possibly contain video or text or convey any sort of information was covering this. I'm sure blind people were reading tweets in Braille about what Mitch Jones said to Asmongold, said to blah, 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 blah. Train's tweet was posted on September 19th of 2022. Within 24 hours, Mizkif was placed on leave from OTK while a third-party investigation took place into whether or not he and the organization had covered up what happened. Adriana Lee would also file suit against Mizkif, Crazy Slick, Maya Higa, and OTK, accusing the defendants of making false statements about her, which led to a loss of reputation, followers, sponsors, and income. Meanwhile, Miz posted a statement apologizing for saying the N-word in ISIS DMs and for downplaying Slick's harassment in the clip that I showed earlier. He lost 50,000 followers on Twitch the following month, and over the next few months, he became increasingly inactive. In December of 2022, the third-party investigation would conclude with no direct evidence that Mizkif had attempted to minimize or cover up the alleged sexual assault, and so he was reinstated as an official member of OTK. But the lawsuit from Adriana was still ongoing behind the scenes. In that same month, another member of OTK, Rich Campbell, was also accused of sexual assault. Both Asmongold and Tectone would talk about the allegations.
And I saw a lot of people that were saying that it wasn't true, that she's making everything up. Please do not do that. You are not our fan. You're not on our side. We are on their side. That's why Rich is gone.
A lot of people want to go online and tell women that their stories are invalid because they want to come to the defense of their content creators.
It's also worth noting that one of the few people that defended Miz publicly was actually Emiru, giving a rather emotional appeal to the sincerity of his character.
I mean, you guys know I've lived with Miz for 10 months, and I've hung out with him pretty much every day since I got here. And the Miz that I know would never know the full story and just let that happen. There's just no way that he knew. I'm sorry.
In Albion, no matter.
That's insane. That's insane. All this happened like during the COVID pandemic. That's insane. Oh, wait.
I supported Adriana in sharing this. I did ask about her experience, and I did go there with the intention of understanding the truth of the incident that occurred at the party in January of 2020. At the time, I thought this was the right thing to do. I fully understand that it was wrong, given my position, to insert myself into that situation. Following this, she would take a step back from online content creation to focus on her animal sanctuary. Jay Schlatt would ultimately leave OTK the same month that Rich was accused of SA, losing the brand one of their biggest names. And while he never talked about it publicly, it's likely that the constant scandals plaguing the company were just not worth his association. Being seen next to Mizkif in that streaming room now had some strings attached, and thus began a rather dark period for his life. This situation put Mizkif in an awkward position, to say the least. The constant growth he had been experiencing was put to a halt as a legal battle raged behind the scenes. His company and his own reputation were called into question, and his opportunities became limited. Publicly, he did attempt to keep the streams going, and there were definitely some notable happenings. While his ability to make connections was definitely harmed, he still had a number of people willing to collaborate with him and make content. Alinity, his sister, who is not really his sister, Cinna, Extra Emily, and many others. He was not at his peak, but he was still a formidable force in the streaming space, able to collaborate with some of the biggest names on the platform. Was he going to be Kai Cenat? No. But the network he had built was still valuable and worth pursuing. On top of that, Miz made a wise decision in diversifying his income streams, the best example being Iron Forge, a gym he opened in Austin. Not only would it serve as a fully functioning business in its own right, able to get up to 1,000 members and break even financially, but it also provided a valuable avenue for content. He could invite other sweaty streamers to exercise, which is definitely a pretty funny novelty. He could host events where even legends of the bodybuilding world like Ronnie Coleman would stop by to see what all the fuss was about. While some had made the case that his career was over, in reality, there was a lot of success still happening at this point in time. His monthly viewership had definitely declined, as did his follower growth, but he was still the owner of a 2 million follower channel on Twitch and was seemingly able to average as many as 20,000 live viewers on a regular basis, even with a more inconsistent streaming schedule. But there were a few small, notable controversies from this point in time. For example, he got into a beef with Bruce Dropamoff, who ended up having this to say.
Miz can stop texting my phone. You are blocked, bitch ass nigga.
He also got into a few minor spats with people like Tommy Ennett and Bryce Hall, but none of these appeared to be major scandals that affected his reputation. However, one seemingly random tidbit here regards Miz working out. People noticed that Miz's body began to change drastically, and while his physique itself was attainable in a natural way, the speed of his progress was unusual. This led people to speculate that he was on steroids, but Mizkif denied that this was the case. There would also be a few candid moments from Mizkif's streams where he appeared to be having a mental health crisis, feeling that the public backlash he got was undeserved.
Go off your stream and stream, bro. Get on my chat, man. My mental can't take it anymore. I just can't. I can't do it. Like dying. It's so bad, chat. It's so bad, man.
Publicly, Miz was collaborating with his friends, particularly his girlfriend Emiru, trying to pump out content like usual. He even managed to secure a stream with BB No Money, easily one of the most brand-friendly and progressive rappers out there. It seemed like maybe the supposed setback from a few years prior was finally beginning to lift. But behind the scenes, the court case was ongoing. Just from watching his content over the course of early 2022 until late 2024, you can see that his personality is not what it used to be. The guy is no longer as carefree and definitely had these situations weighing on him, and the emotional outbursts would ramp up in severity. On February 6th of 2024, his former friend, Mitch Jones, released footage where it's implied that Mizkif had basically beat his ass.
I was at his house, we were arguing, and then I asked him for a ride home. Get in his car, we're still arguing, and that's when we drive past this part of the neighborhood where the camera caught the assault, and I have the evidence right here. So that was right before the assault. This is directly after the assault.
Slash! Want to do it again? Huh? You said you could take me 7 times. You didn't listen to yourself, you're drunk and on cocaine. I tried to talk to you as a friend, you're treating me like shit. You think you're gonna kill myself. And all you can say is fuck you. And all you can do is say fuck you. You think you're treating me like shit. You said, come on, you pulled me out of the car, you said, let's go!
In the video, Miz's car comes to a screeching halt, and it's implied that after that point, Mitch pulled him out of the car, wanting to fight him. Miz, being stronger, was able to win the altercation, but Mitch claims that Miz continued to beat him afterwards. Now, we don't know what happened behind the scenes here, as Mitch did not reveal the specific details, and Miz just outright never acknowledged this happening. But given that Miz screams, "You made me want to take my own life," it's clear that his mental state was not very good. Now, in December of 2024, Miz publicly stated that his court case case with Adriana Lee was coming to a close.
Fortunately, after 2 years, I'm finally glad to announce that the court has dismissed all allegations against me in relation to those allegations. After months of litigation, those allegations were thrown out of the courtroom, and the plaintiff is required to pay my attorney fees.
Despite his collaborations seemingly continuing to provide content for him, Miz eventually left Austin altogether, saying he was ready for a new chapter in his life. The house responsible for so much of his most popular content was sold as he left for Los Angeles. Despite hardship, he was ready to make a serious comeback to the streaming space. For example, he made one video addressing what had gone down in 2022, throwing some shade at Ludwig for how he had covered the allegations back in the day, while also proclaiming his own innocence regarding the accusations.
I want to show you a quick video.
You're home for the holidays. Back.
Thank you, YouTube. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing
The
that.
video got a fuck ton of views, has 98.7% like ratio, called Twitch is collapsing. And this was about Trainwreck's bombshell tweet, now totally debunked, about Mizkif and I forget whoever else was involved. And I made a video that was like incredibly damaging. It was just not at all based in fact, because you don't have fact when you make a video based off of tweets that are completely made up. These videos have no research to them. These videos are aggregates of what is available to see online.
In September 2022, I was accused of covering up sexual assault by Trainwreck TV. This resulted in the biggest drama that has ever happened in the history of Twitch, where dozens of the top content creators attacked me for weeks, saying that I covered up sexual assault and I deserved to be banned. Ludwig was one of those content creators who made a video titled Twitch is Collapsing with over 3 million views. This video told people that I was the only one involved in this whole thing, and I orchestrated basically a cover-up. This resulted in me losing so many of my fans, torpedoed my career, destroyed my mental health, something that I don't know if ever will come back, and has ruined my life and almost everyone I know around me. I'm not doing this as a hit piece on Ludwig. I really don't care that he apologized or said that he fucked up. I'm making this video because I think a lot of people on Twitch understand that it was false and understand that it's not true. But on other platforms...
So... I should put this out there. It's the internet. Okay, it's the internet. People are gonna accuse you for shit. They're gonna assume this shit. They're gonna believe like either the wrong side or the right side, depending on like where it goes. And it's gonna be very difficult to for like streamers of all kinds to be able to like do stuff like that.
like Instagram and TikTok, a lot of people hate me because of this. I hate that this happened, but I keep moving on. And if you're someone that watched me over the years but thought I did that, give me another chance.
Simultaneously, he appeared on multiple podcasts within a short period of time, clearly preparing for a comeback and a new chapter in his life. But it's still worth noting that even in these podcasts, he still discussed the allegations made in 2022.
I feel like my brain cracked when it happened. I almost feel like there's a before me and after that me. The before me was much more innocent and believed in people. Now I'm very jaded and I don't trust anyone. And that's a very sad life to live when you're trying to be funny and entertaining, because it's almost like you don't want to entertain because you're just like, I don't like these people or they're going to betray me one day.
He makes a clear distinction between him before and him after, and the difference in his mental state since that moment. What's intriguing to me, however, and you guys if you've been paying attention, is that despite what happened, he was still very successful, but for whatever reason, instead of fully putting the situation behind him, or at least not talking about it in the public, it was clearly still a subject he was holding on to. Regardless, with the majority of the legal claims against him being dismissed and Miz relocating to Los Angeles, maybe he could finally build back the momentum that he lost, and perhaps the 2022 drama would end as a minor footnote in an otherwise impressive career. But within days of this podcast being released, it all came crashing down. And this brings us to 2025.
Oh 2025. Oh boy. You know, Where is this going, chat?
In the year of our Lord, a series of events would ultimately lead to more of Mizkif's private life becoming a matter of public knowledge. Details he likely never expected to come out. The first domino was Hassan Piker showing the world how much he loves his dog.
Stop.
This controversy, while bad for Hassan himself, was worse for Twitch, leading thousands to call for him to be banned from the platform. That same week, a familiar face also made an appearance, Emiru. While at TwitchCon, she was approached by a stranger and assaulted, while security basically stood there aimlessly before finally someone stepped in to stop the interaction. This sparked a lot of outrage, not only because people understandably felt bad for Emiru, but also because Emiru pointed out the inaction of Twitch staff regarding the issue. With millions rallying to support her in this trying time, on October 25th, she took to her stream for a massive announcement. Many likely thought she would be discussing Twitch at length, and while she did open by discussing their inaction in regards to what happened at TwitchCon, the main subject was something else entirely.
Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me.
Emiru opens by stating that this was not coming out of nowhere. She claims to be bringing this information forward because she was informed by 3 separate people that Mizkif had continued this pattern of abuse after their own relationship, and as a result, she feels the need to bring the information to the public to raise awareness and prevent him from doing so in the future. She also claims that Mizkif had threatened her indirectly, telling others, including streamers, that if she ever came out about what he had supposedly done to her, he would start a smear campaign against her, even specifically approaching one of her employees at TwitchCon, saying that if she ever came out, he would destroy her. She specifically says that his plan would be to accuse her of neglecting her rabbits, echoing the tone of the recent controversy around Hassan Piker. Perhaps seeing how it went for Hassan, his plan was to more or less jump on the bandwagon against animal cruelty that was happening on Twitch. With that preamble out of the way, she then explains that their relationship was very private,
It's fucked.
hidden
It's
not
very
just from the
fucked, dude.
public, but also
Dude, not only that, I think at some point in this video, they're gonna say that Emerald is also suing or putting a lawsuit on Mizkif.
Also from friends and other people who were a part of OTK. This relationship, in her words, was extremely codependent and toxic. She says that from the beginning, Mizkif portrayed himself as a nice guy, someone who treated women that he dated very well. And at the same time, he seemed motivated for both of them to succeed as teammates. However, the first issue she alleges is that Miz was very controlling shortly after getting into a relationship with her, dictating what clothes she could wear, who she could be friends with, and when she could stream, to the detriment of her career. One thing I haven't seen anyone bring up in regards to this comes from something I covered 2 years ago in regards to their relationship. While at the time their dating was kind of speculated on and somewhat of an open secret, Emiru had accidentally tabbed into her Discord on stream, showing some messages with Mizkif. One may interpret the following messages as being controlling. In regards to her being on stream, he says, "You literally lift your legs like a cheerleader multiple times, stick a bottle between your legs and play with it, farm those parasocial people by doing this content in the first place, after claiming to me you don't want these weirdos and you hate this community and hate the just chatting community." Emiru responds, "I genuinely don't think of things like that as sexual when I'm doing it, especially since I'm wearing pajama pants, but I will stop." Mizkif says, "Okay, lol." Then Emiru responds by saying, "I do dislike having to always make content for those types of viewers, but I thought this was something that would be easy and low effort." Mizkif says, "Go to sleep on stream. Clearly that's not one we've talked about or you know is bad to do." Emiru says yes. At the time these messages originally came out, it sparked much debate over how it played into the greater context of their relationship. Now, with Emiru's perspective, it's possible that this is part of the broader image of control that Mizkif had over her. But I'm going to come back to these messages later when we get into Mizkif's response. Emiru then transitions to talking about the alleged physical abuse that she suffered. She claims it began with him throwing plastic bottles at her, and she asked him to stop. However, things really took a turn for the worse in September of 2022 when the initial cover-up allegations came out, and as we've already seen, Miz's mental state began to unravel. Emiru states that his mind began to deteriorate, and at some point, it seemed like he truly snapped. While
Sign of abusive relationship. Well, ish, but then again, I don't know, because I never really been in a actual dating relationship, so I have no idea how it feels personally.
Viewership was always important to him. Now that it was dipping, it became a major source of insecurity. He never wanted to stream at the same time as her for fear that their shared audience would interfere with his own numbers. She claims that during an event where the two were streaming Rust, everything started out fine, until he noticed that her viewer count was higher than his. She says that he then messaged her saying he wanted to take his own life, before ending his own stream, walking over to a door near her room, and slamming it so loud that even her microphone picked it up. This claim would become closer to objective fact once Reddit detectives actually found the incident being referenced here. During this video, you can see that at some point, he realizes her viewership is higher than his, and his mood quickly changes. He ends his own stream after complaining about being tired, and then by checking Emiru's stream, we can see the moment when the door slams, startling her.
Like, we haven't murdered. Like, we haven't pillaged. She had a one-hit advantage. She was coming.
Well, I have some cloth in my house.
In her allegation video, Emiru states that she eventually left to go check on him, which seems to be true based on the VOD.
So I tell my stream, I'm like, hey, guys, I'll be right back. I get up and I go talk to him. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, I hate all of you guys. Like, all you guys do is just take from me. And like, I'm just done. Like, I'm just done. And I was like, is this like really happening because of rush drops? And he was like, I don't know what else to do. He was like going off on me, like basically saying that he hated me. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do now. And he was like, go finish your stream so that people don't know anything's wrong.
She states that from this point onward, things only got worse. He would destroy furniture in front of her, punch holes in walls, and at one point even threw his phone at her, giving her a bruise.
He would throw his phone at me. I would tell him, you know, it scared me, I don't like it. And one time it even hit me in the eye, which caused me to get a black eye, but he always, you know, was like, oh, it's an accident. And I was like, oh yeah, it's an accident. Like,
Emiru claims that during these fists, she would lock herself in her room to get away from him, and he would scream and bang on the door while she waited inside for it to be over. And this behavior allegedly also extended outside of the house. Mizkif is the proud owner of an Audi R8, and according to her, he would drive his supercar extremely fast, including during arguments. She describes one specific scenario in which she and Miz were sitting in a restaurant, and he saw on his phone that Mr. Beast had invited another streamer to be in his video, a streamer that was not Mizkif. Supposedly, this led to Miz driving 150 miles per hour in his car with Emmy in the passenger seat, saying he wanted to take his own life the entire time. These outbursts would apparently be very consistent, with him throwing his phone at some furniture because her YouTube video was doing better than his that week. She states that in October of 2024, they would finally break up, and a week later, he would come over to her house to talk about closure, at which point Emiru claims she was assaulted by him. I'll let her explain it.
Will you stand in the way of darkness?
He started to try to comfort me by hugging me while I was sitting on the couch and holding me really close to him. And when this was happening, we hadn't talked in quite a while, and I'm usually very uncomfortable with being touched a lot by people that I'm not in a relationship with. But I let him hold me while I was crying. And he started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. I was still sobbing a lot. And then, suddenly, he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants. And, I screamed. Yeah. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat, like. And instead of apologizing or checking if I was okay, he said, I feel weird now. I feel like I did something wrong. I have to go. And he immediately left my house while I was still crying.
In the wake of this video being released, the Livestream Fails community would once again get to work.
Dude, I feel so bad for Emiru. After like hearing that, dude, I was like, dude, Emiru just did not have a really good life during that relationship, dude.
Piecing together the story. As I showed earlier, they had the video of Mizkif raging once he noticed Emiru's viewership, but there were also plenty of others. One clip features his previous girlfriend, Maya Higa, and while she keeps the subject of it nameless, people speculated that it was Mizkif.
I did a guy that would go like 100 miles an hour on the, like we would fight in the car, which was never my decision. Like it just always like happened. Like we just would like fight in the car, and then he'd go like 100.
and I would like literally like beg him to slow down. I'd be so scared and I'd cry, and then he would not slow down until I apologized. So then I started driving only. Like I wouldn't let him drive me anywhere. But then if we'd get in a fight while I was driving, he would like pound my ceiling in my glove box.
Ooh,
He would like
that's scary.
scream and like hit the ceiling and like hit the glove box and just like scream profanity.
In another clip, he throws some Starbucks bags at Maya. And while obviously throwing a paper bag is not the biggest thing in the world, it does seem to line up with what Emiru claimed. She would also show a series of screenshots of message exchanges, which corroborate some of what
Straight up don't have to because you're a DPS. My group didn't have other warriors. Yeah, I know where this is going and I'm not doing with it. I asked for a boundary and it's always crossed. You don't know boundaries. You do not need to tank in dungeons. So now I'm going to get so much shit nonstop. Don't ever pull aggro. Emmy's better. Emmy this. I can't have anything to Emmy. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Don't tank. Yep, there it is. I'm playing. Dude!
What she says. Particularly the idea that he was extremely insecure, mentally unwell.
What the fuck does that mean? You already played warrior that I told
and would take it.
Told you we were going to get compared. Don't pull. I'm gonna pull aggro because I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. No, you're not. Another warrior can tank.
Out on her.
Dude.
She shows that he continued.
Dude, these messages. I'm sorry, another day has gone by in these last 4 months where your final words to me don't go haven't echoed in my heart. I walk out your door thinking I knew what I wanted, but I was wrong. I told myself I needed to be alone, that I had missed out on being single in my 30s. I convinced myself I needed space, freedom, distance, but the truth is I was afraid of commitment, afraid of what it meant to truly let someone in, even someone as beautiful and kind as you. So I tried to protect myself in the worst way possible. I pushed you away. I told myself lies just to justify it. I said I was bored. I said a relationship would hold me back. I said I didn't want to be with the one person. But those weren't truths. They were shields I put up to avoid facing my fears and a part of myself I haven't healed. And in doing that, I lost you. And the fact that you acted like... Yeah, honestly, you did do that, but in like the worst way possible. And now you're getting sued. Well, not sued. Well, like, you know what I mean.
You to contact her.
Wait, hold up. I missed. There was a second message.
And would take it out on her. She showed.
The last 4 months have been the hardest. Wait, are these sex messages? No, they're not. And these last 4 months have been the hardest of my life. Whenever people see me on the outside, online, or anywhere else, know this. I've been lost without you. I missed you every single day. I've cried more times than I can count. Just thinking about your smile, your laugh, the way you say merp and merp. Or make those little sounds when you're happy. I even had to unfollow you at one point, not because I want to forget you, but seeing you remind me so painfully of how badly I messed up. I love you, Emmy. I always have, and I know now I never stopped. I know our time was far from perfect. My mental health weighed heavily on us both. And I'm so sorry for what I put you through. You carried more than you ever should have had to, but I'm working on myself now, really working. I'm starting treatment. I'm on Lexapro and Proparolo. I don't know how to pronounce that. And from the first time in a long time, I feel clarity. My emotions aren't running wild anymore. I think more clearly. I feel steadier. I learned to be the man you always proved I could be. And now that it seems clear,
was that he continued to contact her after.
I know this without a shadow of a doubt. You are the love of my life. Every night we spend watching shows, every silly conversation about Cheddar. Every time I walked into your room as you were about to go live, I cherish it all. You brought color and joy into my life in ways I didn't fully appreciate until I lost you, and I hate that I let fear and pain and pride blind me to how lucky I was to have you. Emmy, if you still have any space in your heart for me, I will spend the rest of my life making things right, loving you the way you're always deserved to be loved. This time fully. I am leaving for LA, but I would make it work with you even if we could start small. It's always been in Matt and Emmy, and it still could be if you have me. I hate bums like this, dude. Listen, Ms. Gift, it's already over for you, man. Your reputation is like down into the gutter at this point.
The
She's not gonna take it
ended,
back.
expressing regret for his behavior towards her, but also wanting to be on decent terms again. Emiru states she would have to stop attending events where he was present because she got the impression that he was basically monitoring her every move. With these claims now being public, Mizkif would fire up his own stream to respond. I'd like to take an aside here to say that responding to public allegations on a live stream is possibly the worst idea I have ever heard ever in the history of ever. But with that out of the way, let's just get into what Mizkif actually had to say. Before he gets into the actual content of responding to Emmy, he basically says that he is going to go nuclear on the entire.
These were two weirdly
Going
shaped
nuclear
odds
the
to make
entire time. Going nuclear this entire time. That's crazy.
Streaming scene.
A lot of you guys know, pretty far away from this stuff at this point, but I am totally okay with exposing a lot of things and saying things. At this point, I think it's pretty obvious I will not be friends with any of these people after this. Ludwig was right. I am going to completely separate myself from these people in this community, which is fine, and I've already been doing it, but I have hundreds of messages and DMs from people, things that people probably would never want to get released that are very interesting for everyone, and I will be releasing it as time goes on, because why not?
He also outright states that he did in fact tell her employee at TwitchCon that if she came out about what he did, he would destroy her reputation, specifically regarding the rabbits, which we're going to come back to later. In response to the idea that he had thrown things at her, Mizkif responds by claiming that he had never thrown water bottles at her out of anger or during their fights. He states that he did once throw his phone onto his bed though while he was brushing his teeth, which inadvertently gave her a bruise. And in fairness to him, she did say that she bruises easily, which he also points out.
It would be me throwing my phone on my bed when I brushed my teeth. She did tell me she got a bruise from it, and I stopped. That's all that happened. I will throw you and show you an example, chat. I'm brushing my teeth. Right here. Look at me. I would throw my phone on the bed. I would just lob it over because I was going to bed. I didn't throw it at her. I want to make that very clear. I never threw it at her. I never hit her. And she even said in her situation that she bruises easily.
As for her claim that he was controlling towards her regarding what she would wear, he claims that it was due to him trying to mitigate the stalking that she would get from viewers. For a little bit of added context for the unfamiliar, it's not uncommon for someone in Emiru's position to have stalkers.
Yeah.
It's a sad fact that when you're an online content creator, certain people with mental health issues will begin to perceive that they somehow know you. Schizophrenia in particular will often cause delusions where the person afflicted will feel like media personalities are personally talking to them. I personally have been getting emails for around 2 years from someone who believes that I am a part of ISIS. Shout out to you, my goat. Now, Mizkif claims that his controlling behaviors were to mitigate the presence of these stalkers. While we don't know exactly what was going on with their in-person interactions, I once again am going to refer to the leaked messages from earlier. If you believe Emiru, then this was yet another instance of him being controlling towards her. If you believe Mizkif, then this interaction was him trying to stop her from encouraging more parasocial behaviors from the audience to mitigate the presence of these stalkers. And the content of the messages from Mizkif do line up with that perspective, although whether that was his true intention is not for me to say. Now, if you'll remember, Emiru had claimed that as a consequence of what happened with the OTK drama, Miz's mind basically snapped. This is something that not only has he talked about before, but he also agrees with it in his response, stating that after this, the only person he really talked talked to was Emiru, which also aligns with her claim about the relationship being extremely codependent. He admits to being obsessed with viewership, something he didn't really need to admit to because that much was already obvious from the Rust video. And on top of that, he does in fact go down one path that Emiru had predicted, claiming that she neglected her rabbits.
Emiru has a lot of rabbits, but as those rabbits moved out of her room and into the living room, they started to see disgusting neglect. No food, no water, sometimes not having clean bedding for weeks. And my brother once came over and said, and I quote, "If you ever marry this woman, I'll never forgive you." Here is a video up close of Emiru's rabbits. These are small little mites that are inside the rabbit cage, and she didn't care. She completely neglected these animals, and I'm not gonna sit around and let people say that she didn't. She left them to die. I would tell her to take care of them all the time, but to no avail. She completely neglected those rabbits, so much that many died just over a year or two of being around in my house. When Maya came over during my cancellation, she actually commented on Emiru's rabbits and said, "These rabbits are completely neglected and this is disgusting."
Now, I'm no rabbitologist or whatever you call someone who likes rabbits a lot, but with that being said, off rip, looking at Mizkif's streams, this definitely looks bad. It sparked a lot of debate on social media where people have brought up some other clips from her
what Emiru's rabbit cage really looks like. No mites, water and food bowls, hidey holes for shade if it's hot, roof over balcony with a fan. Mizkif probably record a cage that was about to be cleaned with no bunny in it, probably at the vet for mites, but who knows.
Streams where people then play rabbit expert, trying to determine if the living conditions are suitable for these animals. I'm not going to weigh in too heavily here on this particular thing. It's possible that these animals were mistreated, and I just don't know enough about taking care of them to say one way or the other. But as far as Miz's intentions with bringing this up, it's worth saying that he's including this in a response that has nothing to do with what's being discussed. Miz claims that the last 9 months of their relationship got worse and worse, essentially painting a picture that both of them were toxic towards each other. She says that he would threaten to end his own life. He says they both did it. She claims that she had to get her cat out of the house because Mizkif was mean to the cat. He claims that he wanted her and her cat to leave because her cat would attack his cat. Now, in response to the claims of going juggernaut mode on the house's walls, this is what Miz has to say.
"I'm ashamed that the situations got so bad, but Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or slammed doors in aggression."
I'll be right back.
Now,
okay.
I can see the point he's trying to make here, but ultimately, as the audience pointed out, these two things are not really equal. Miz also responds to her claims of sexual assault. While Emiru claims that she was crying during the interaction and she let him kiss her, he claims that they were kissing outright, which is when he put the moves on her.
We cuddled for about 30 minutes and started to kiss. She said that she was okay with this on her stream, and I started to advance to the next stage because I thought that's what she wanted. She yelped, and I immediately sprung up and was scared if I did anything wrong. I got scared and left the house. I apologize if that made Emmy uncomfortable for me not saying sorry, and I wish I said sorry back then.
Now, this particular part of his response has caused a lot of debate on Reddit and other sites as to whether or not what she describes is assault, whether his retelling is assault or not, etc. XQC, for example, seemed more understanding towards Mizkif, while other streamers like Dante have heavily disagreed. Mizkif claims that after this interaction, Emiru had told Miz that she wanted to marry him, but he knew that their relationship was too toxic to continue. With that being said, we do know from Emiru's messages from him since then that this wasn't necessarily something he remained consistent on. As of me writing this, Mizkif has not released anything on these other streamers as he initially promised. Instead, he's turned off the comments on his entire channel and gone silent on most of his social media. But that doesn't mean that all of the developments have stopped. As confirmed by both Miz and Emiru, in the wake of the 2022 drama, Mizkif's mental state deteriorated rapidly. After his response was posted, he took to his offline chat to speak about this a bit, stating that during that time period, he did in fact take steroids, took shrooms every day, and at one point took acid. He even specifically clarifies that the steroids gave him anger issues. Now, if you've done a little bit of reading online, or you watch Trend Twins videos, you're probably familiar with the term roid rage. Without getting into the science of it, you can become irritable, snapping at things that wouldn't otherwise make you upset, and flying off the handle into physical.
And that can actually get you arrested. Because isn't technically like steroids
violence.
not
Given that
good
Miss Kiff's mental state was already poor,
person's health?
steroid use definitely didn't help, and probably contributed to not only the violent outbursts that Emiru described, but also the Mitch Jones incident. As I said earlier, we don't know exactly what led up to this incident, and given what's said, it's possible that Mitch had goaded Miz into beating him up. However, this is just another drop into the bucket of the broader picture that is Mizkif's perpetual crash out after the 2022 drama, and I'm sure doing psychedelic drugs like mushrooms and acid didn't help either. Now, up until this point, I've mostly avoided talking about the reactions of the broader community to Emiru's story, but it hasn't been great for Miz. Another girl accused him of assault, although she says in the post that they had a consensual relationship afterwards. Adriana Lee was obviously happy to see Emiru coming out, considering her story from back in the day. Ethan Klein came out in support of Emiru. Asmongold has been shitting on him relentlessly. Livestream Fails made South Park edits where Miz is Cartman, because of course they did, with his, I assume now, former friends, NMP Lol, SFand, and Asmongold changing their profile pictures to play into it. Trainwrecks is seen as a hero, cast out of the Twitch Poggers community, only to play a direct hand in orchestrating their downfall, which many see as deserved given recent events. While Train himself more or less declined to comment, Tectone has come out in support of Emiru. Various other content creators have shared that they either didn't like Mizkif or never heard a nice thing about him behind the scenes. Even Ice Poseidon came back to throw a shot across the bow. And Pokimane also made a statement in the most Pokimane way possible, but I'm not reading that. Now, at the same time that all of this was happening, Rich Campbell's accuser announced that she was dismissing her lawsuit against him, and he personally returned to Twitch after 3 years of silence. And Mizkif has officially been dropped from OTK for the final time. The organization he helped found has now cast him into the Shadow Realm. Meanwhile, Asmongold has implied that more stories are soon to come out.
There have been 2 additional people that have alleged that he assaulted them.
悲しい夢を見ていた。ゆっくりと。
I don't need this anime stuff right now.
Within less than 24 hours of this stuff coming out. And not a single person that is in the space that knew him is really defending him.
And the most recent development in this story is that Mizkif has filed a lawsuit against Emiru, Asmongold, and OTK.
No, oh yeah, no.
Looking at Mizkif's career, it's obvious that he's backed himself into a corner. Whether all of these claims about him are true or not, part of the main issue is that the entire culture of Twitch he succeeded in, at least the Austin scene, relied on likability. Whereas streamers like Ice Poseidon, who pioneered IRL streaming, and Rekful, who was known for being good at World of Warcraft, and may he rest in peace, had carved out their audiences over the course of years due to slowly building their own communities, Mizkif existed solely as a product of his connections. Once the 2022 drama happened, whether his role in it was as malicious as some people think or not, his ability to network was largely hampered. In early 2022, he thought his success was an inevitability, a trajectory that would just continue forever. Once the drama happened, he hit a major speed bump that called into question if he had been responsible with the connections that he had built. When reality failed to meet expectations, his mental state fractured, leading him to develop toxic habits and relationships with others. This comparison may seem out of left field, but I promise it's worth noting. Many of you in the broader YouTube audience, or those in my audience, probably remember the allegations made against Dr. Disrespect, where he was accused of messaging a minor inappropriately through Twitch whispers, leading to his ban. While at the time this controversy seemed like it would swallow his entire career, in the aftermath he still has hundreds of thousands of loyal fans and a successful career on YouTube as a result. This is partly because many of his fans believe his side of the story, which is that he was framed. But it's also because Dr. Disrespect is like an island content creator. He can operate completely independent of other streamers collabing with him. Mizkif's success, on the other hand, was built on how he related to others. When that fell apart, so did his reputation and his mind. Despite the fact that the majority of the community had forgiven or just forgotten about the controversy from 2022, he seemed to be the one holding on to it the most. Even when he had collabs with massive names, for some reason he couldn't let go of what happened, leading to what happened with Emiru and the many other misgivings people have had with him over the last few years. When Rich Campbell was sued, he left, waiting until his legal case was concluded before making a return. But Mizkif just kept toiling away, raging at the fact that he was no longer considered the main character. For one reason or another, he managed to turn almost...
Yeah, that's a case of people trying to be main character shenanigan. It's hilarious, not gonna
every
lie.
ally he could possibly have against him. And whoever may be out there and wants to defend him is clearly too scared of the backlash they may get for doing so. Whether he continues to stream or not remains to be seen. But ultimately, he's gonna have to deal with being a pariah, not just to fellow streamers, but also to a lot of the online world.
And I realized I need to be alone.
The community that he helped to create has officially left him behind for different pastures, but not without slamming the door on the way out. But ultimately, only time will tell where the story leads next. I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, happy Friendsgiving.
Wow, that's really fucking insane. Especially like all the things that Mizkif has gone through and has to deal with. It's fucking insane. I've been streaming for almost. Okay. So from what it seems, especially from what it seemed, from like right now of what's going on between Emeru and Mizkif, I think Emeru is innocent in this one. In this, I don't know. I believe in Emeru. Because by the looks of it, Mizkif is like really putting himself in the situation where he cannot like defend himself in the platform of Twitch, and it's absolutely insane. So yeah, there's just nothing there's nothing else I have to say except what the hell, dude. All right, I think that's enough reacting for today. So I know OBS has like been acting up and all that stuff, but that's okay. I'm gonna call it from there. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Thank you all for chilling out with me. If you guys want to keep track of my see when I go live next, hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, hit the follow button. If you're on Twitch, make sure to turn on notification and so see when I go live next time. Or you can join my Discord server. It's in my link tree. It's on my panel if you're on Twitch, or in the link description down below if you're on YouTube. Without further ado, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.